Hello and welcome everybody to today's video. Welcome to the Vee Academy. My name is Crumbrion, Professor Crumbrion, if you would. And today, we're going to be taking a look at a wonderful game that we played on Pokemon Trading Card Game Live. And be happy to get your reactions to it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. If you want to follow me and watch games in real time, check me out on twitch.tv/Crumbrion. For now, let's go check out the game. Thanks for watching.
3, 2, 1, go!
Welcome back, V-Munity. Good evening, afternoon, or good night, whatever time it is for you, YouTube. Welcome. We have another wonderful game to take a look at for this one here, another matchup review. Now this one I'm picking because it was actually an incredibly tightly played game here. Into another Okidogi deck. Now we had handled a Okidogi deck in another video that is up on the Metafy if you want to check out that. But this one here was much closer and much better played on both sides, I think. Considering my opponent had a fantastic start to this game. Getting out Solrock, Lunatone, Binacle, Pokepad here, getting them an Okidogi as well, if I believe is what's happening here. They had their Lunar Cycle. This had everything to start the game here. We start out with Budew and we start out with Munkidori. We have a couple of Pokepads to get ourselves off to the races here and an Ultra Ball. But that's pretty much it. Like we're off to a pedestrian start going second here, and Item Lock doesn't really do a whole lot for this deck. Now my opponent did take some periods of time here, take a very long time when they were making decisions, so taking a long time doing their deck check here on the opening, grabbing out a Barbaracle. So again, preparing themselves for an item lock. We have literally had 0 turns so far. We've gone going second here. They have a formidable board immediately. The only thing they didn't do this turn was put down energy. So generally in this matchup, Tool Scrapper is an important thing to have, obviously, because they're going to be running Genesect in this list, and Genesect does have the Ace Nullifier, Ace Spec Nullifier ability. And so that will shut down our use of Unfair Stamp, which is a pretty bad thing for us, right? Pretty unfortunate thing for us. So we want to go for draw here. We have Munkidori ready to go, and we're going to unfortunately have to I'll get rid of the Tool Scrapper very early on here. Grab Meowth, because otherwise we just don't have an ability here to do anything. We don't have any way to go here, so we have to go into Meowth to grab ourselves a Lilie's Determination, which is going to get us a brand new hand. So in order to play the game, you need cards. You need cards to play the game, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go grab 8 brand new cards here. We get Unfair Stamp, we get Lilie's Determination, we have Ultra Ball, we have Blaziken in hand. We have Rare Candy Blaziken in hand, in fact, with Crispin in the deck, or in hand as well. So debating on what we want to play here, obviously Drakloak is easier for us to go and grab later on with a Night Stretcher if we have a Night Stretcher. If we don't get item locked, we have Drakloaks still in the deck as well. So we have a few different options where we can go. We can go Rare Candy and a Blaziken and start swinging. Start going into an attack on the following turn here. So a couple different things that we could do. A few different options. So big turn for my opponent. They have 7 cards in hand now. Binacle is in the front, so they're going to have to do a couple of things to be able to attack here. So one thing I have noticed the Okidogi deck likes to do is discard the Blood Moon Ursaluna early, because Tarragon turns that into an instant attack anytime that they want it late in the game. So having the Ursaluna in the discard pile, very important for them. Morty's Conviction allows that to happen. We did fill up our bench to 5, so they get a full brand new 5 cards, up to 12 cards, get a second Binacle on the bench here. Barbaracle we already knew they had in hand, so pretty good turn coming out here for our opponent. Again, the only thing that they missed last turn was an energy attach. That was literally it. Everything else here is looking mighty fine for them so far, so it's a pretty strong turn for my opponent here. The Okidogi, no energy at this point in time. However, they can definitely get special energy on there to get the dark energy. They have the Stone Arms to attach multiple energies per turn. And so we see the Okidogi getting the attachment from Stone Arms and the Legacy Energy immediately here, and Battle Cage. If things were not bad enough, Battle Cage and Air Balloon hit the table here, and we get a retreat into Okidogi. So we're already looking down the pipe here of not even being able to take a prize next turn on Okidogi. 230 HP. What are we going to be able to do here? We're kind of in a very bad position. So we do get a Night Stretcher here. We can get our Drakloak back out of the discard pile. Rare Candy into Blaziken. We do have Unfair Stamp. It's the only time we're basically going to be able to play this. Is this turn. They took a knockout on Budew. You can cut their hand size down a tiny bit here. But again, with the Lunatone Soul Rock combination, it's just almost and not even really worth it, unfortunately. So debated on just drawing into a Drakloak here. We did not draw into Drakloak, but we did get Night Stretcher back in hand. So we can use the Night Stretcher here to grab the Drakloak out of the discard pile. We don't really particularly want to put down Fezandipiti in this matchup either if we can afford it. If we have Meowth down, we do not want to put Fez down because having Fez and Meowth down, basically a death knell. You're signing your own slip on that part. So Drakloak here is going to at least get Dawn. So now we can at least use Dawn on a follow-up turn to give ourselves a little bit more stuff to do. So we're going to go for Mind Bend, which is weakness. Okidogi is weak to psychic Pokemon, so at least Munkidori can do something here to start getting damage on board and start disrupting our opponent a tiny bit here. Obviously, very, very intimidating board with that Legacy Energy there. That's a 0 prize card Okidogi on the board currently. If we can start chipping away at that, if we can start pushing damage onto it with Munkidori, if we can Phantom Dive damage onto it, get the Battle Cage out of there, start doing that, then we can start potentially working around that Legacy Energy and start taking prizes here. But unfortunately, my opponent here has different plans for us. Lillie's Determination getting them 6 cards because they did take a knockout on Budew in the previous turn. And so if they want to, have this Dogi retreat right now, they're going to have to remove that Legacy Energy or have Stone Arms attach another energy and have that retreat, except now they have a second Air Balloon. Air Balloon hits the table here, retreating into Okidogi, and it just gets to go ahead for a good punch for 170. That Prism Energy boosting its damage, minus 34. The resistance not going to stop the knockout here, unfortunately, for us. Now we're down 2 prizes here, and my opponent is just off to the races. The only nice part here is that they did not get a Lunar Cycle, so they're kind of stuck at 3 cards right now. That's their only saving grace at this point in time. So we have Poképad here, gonna get a Drakloak. We do have a Dawn if we want to use Dawn to get another Drakloak out here as well, but we're gonna take a look and see what we get off of the Draklooks first. Recon Directive, see what we can get. We get Ultra Ball. It's really trying to make us use this Fezandipiti. We really don't want to put it into play, so if we can avoid it, we're gonna avoid it as much as we can. So we have Boss's Orders, we have Lily's Determination. Ultimately, both really, we don't really want to do either one of those. We're going to Ultra Ball here. We can get another energy in the discard pile. Get rid of the Dawn. We have a Lily's Determination in hand, gets us a brand new card. So we're going to get Drakloak here, evolve to Drakloak. We don't have a use for the Rare Candy at this point in time, so we're just going to save that for later. And that's going to be a call for 8 new cards here off of Lily's Determination, which does get us a couple of different things, right? We have a couple of different things to play with. We have another Torchic if we want to put that down. We have a Blaziken in hand. We have a Petrol. We know Rare Candy's in the deck, so we could go grab Rare Candy with Petrol, get 2 Blazikens out. And so we have a Watchtower in our back pocket as well, so we can go ahead and bump that Battle Cage when it's appropriate to do so. Now, this particular version of Okidogi is going to be playing 3 Battle Cage. We already know that. We've built this variant of the deck before, so what we're going to do, because they don't have a Munkidori on board right now, we're going to take advantage of the fact that they don't have space for a Munkidori currently. And so we're going to do 200 damage to this Okidogi. So now if they want to retreat this Okidogi, they're going to have to remove the Prism Energy, which means now if they remove the Prism Energy, it goes back to its original HP, which means it gets knocked out when its HP goes below 200. So kind of putting pressure on them to keep this Okidogi in the active slot. Obviously, it would be nice for them to just give us a free knockout if that's possible, but we're going to try and go into a Dragapult and a follow-up turn here. We'd really love it to be able to take a multi-prize turn knockout on something or get close to something like that. So second Morty's Conviction. Going to come out here, toss away a Poképad. So one thing I have observed from the Okidogi deck that has been playing against tonight. One of the glaring weaknesses You can only play one supporter per turn. And the supporters that my opponent in this game has been playing, they've not been boss's orders, because boss's orders on Meowth would be extremely detrimental for us. Losing a 2-prizer at this particular part of the game would be basically game over for us, right? So the Morty's Conviction on this turn is almost game-saving to a point, because we don't have to worry about Meowth getting knocked out this turn. We have one more turn to try and find a way to remove Meowth from play somehow. Now, a few different ways that we could do it. Obviously, manually attaching takes a long time. Crispin certainly helps. Blaziken is probably the best way to get there. So we're going to wait for our opponent to take their turn here. Taking a little time trying to encourage them to take a move on here. So good punch for 170. Going to take a swing into the Blaziken, put that into range. So one thing I actually talk about in my guide for Dragapult Blaziken, especially into this matchup in particular, and we get the rare candy right there. So we just get a Blaziken rare candy. We don't have to use petrol on this turn. Is the ability to move around and shell game damage, right? We want to be able to shell game the damage as much as possible. So here we have a couple of different options, right? Here we have a couple of different options of what we could do. So we can get Chi-Yu out of that, no problem. We're going to rare candy into Blaziken this turn. So two things we could do in this particular turn. We could boss up Barbaracle and Phantom Dive onto Okidogi by putting the stadium down on this turn. The problem is we don't have a Dragapult. It's the only issue. So instead, we're opting to remove one of our biggest liabilities from the board. Now, ideally, the A plan was to boss up Barbaracle and take out Okidogi and Barbaracle that way. But we're going with plan B, which is removing Meowth from board, because obviously this is one of our biggest lose conditions, is having Meowth in the active slot or within boss range here. So we're going to just take a knockout with Meowth, because it does do 60 damage with Tuck Tail. So Tuck Tail is going to do 60. We take some energy back into our hand here, and Meowth is gone. Poof. Out of there. We're going to promote a Drakloak, because it's the only thing we can afford to sacrifice here. So trading out what would potentially be a 2-prize turn for a 1-prize turn actually does turn out to be game-winning at this point. It does turn out to be a game-winning play. So we'll break down why here. So in this turn, if my opponent happens to find a boss's orders this turn, they could easily boss up Meowth, or they could boss up Blaziken and take 2. If they're swinging into Drakloak, they're only taking 1 prize this turn. So we have to be very conscious about that. The different avenues of how we can go here. So we're going to see Genesect hit the table here with a 3rd air balloon. 3 air balloons in this list, all committed to board now, which is going to be a back-breaking mistake for my opponent that will pay off much later in the game. So Genesect here, getting the air balloon. We've already played Unfair Stamp, so at this point in time, this is just a mental gaffe. Maybe my opponent forgot that we played Unfair Stamp, but it seems like an autopilot move that my opponent just put it down, get it out of their hand for Lilies, put down the air balloon on Genesect. It's going to come back to haunt them in a little bit here. So we start to notice a little bit in the later stages of the game that my opponent's having a harder time finding energies, and we're going to take advantage of that massively as well. So Pokepad's going to grab out a Munkidori. They don't have room for a Munkidori on their bench because Genesect has filled that slot. That also means that all of their energy is going to be committed to their Okidogis. They're going to take a knockout here. Good punch, 170 on Drakloak. So this turn, we would really like to be able to, you know, get Dragapult and get Dragapult going. We would really enjoy it. And Fez makes an appearance once again. We don't want to use Fezandipiti on this turn. We get Dragapult out of the deck here off of this, which is pretty good. We get the fire energy attached from hand here as well. So a couple different things that we could do. Obviously, we could, again, we have boss's orders. We could go into the Barbaracle. We could take a knockout on Barbaracle here. But this Okidogi is still an imminent threat, and it still has a ton of damage on it. So if we take out Barbaracle, we know they have Munkidori in hand, right? We know they have Munkidori there. It's a lot of damage there, so we don't really want to be playing into that into that game plan, have the Blood Moon Ursaluna just take free knockouts on us because we left a bunch of damage on their board with the Okidogi, and our boss's orders are in limited supply, so we have to make sure that we're being very careful with using them. So we're going to drop the Watchtower here, and we would really love to have some kind of disruption on this turn if possible. Right? We would love to disrupt their hand. We've already used Unfair Stamp. We have Judge in the list. A couple different options of what we could do. What we're going to do right now, we're going to get a couple energies attached here to the Blazikens, because just in case we get boss stalled, we want to make sure we have tons of energy in hand right now, so we're able to retreat anything that is on the board currently, making sure that we're covering all of our bases. And so we are looking at just Phantom Diving here at this point in time. We have 7 cards in deck, so we cannot Recon Directive. We need Judge, but Judge, we found out earlier in the game when we played Meowth on the first turn, we found out Judge is in the prizes. So we actually need to take Judge off of the prizes and be very conscious of the amount of cards in our deck, which is why we didn't Recon Directive this turn, being very conscious of how many hand refreshes we have available to us. So if anyone's wondering why we didn't go ahead and take Recon Directive that turn, is because that's the reason. Judge is in the prizing. We need to be able to make sure that we're not decking ourselves out before we can take a knockout. So we have taken 2 prizes off of 3 knockouts so far, because Legacy Energy being a pain in our side, pain in our existence right now. So here comes the Tarragon, one of the biggest cards in this deck right now. So getting a bunch of energy from the discard pile, getting their Blood Moon Ursaluna, getting everything ready for an attack here. So Blood Moon, we get an Okidogi and 2 fighting energy back to the hand. So what we'll see hit the bench here is going to be setting up. So they're going to be setting up this turn for an attack with their big dog next turn. Battle Cage back down, bumping our stadium. So again, Phantom Dive off the table for now. We still do have a Risky Ruins, so Risky Ruins still is available to us. So we're going to be seeing a Solrock come out here. Blood Moon not hitting the bench yet. Very, very smart, because they've not seen it. They've not seen our second boss. If Blood Moon Ursaluna hits that deck, hits that bench with 2 energy on it, we easily sitting there waiting for that boss's orders. We're going to go ahead and grab that and bring it up to the front to take a knockout here. But this turn, it's going to be a Risky Ruins. We're grabbing with the Petrol here. Petrol grabs us the Risky Ruins, and that will allow us to take a knockout on not only Solrock, but Lunatone. So we're kind of making up for missing a KO on the previous turn thanks to Legacy Energy. We're taking out 2 important pieces here. Solrock and Lunatone are going to go down, and hopefully we can find something of what we need off of the prizing on these 2, because now we have taken 4 knockouts. We have taken 2 knockouts, and we have taken 1 prize. We have taken 1 prize off of 2 knockouts, and we're going to take a little bit more here. So there goes Solrock, there goes Lunatone, and now we have taken 2 more knockouts, so we have taken a total of 3 prizes on 4 knockouts here, and there is our Judge. Judge is going to be incredibly important for us to refresh our deck, because obviously there's a lot of stuff that we want to get back into the deck there. We don't want everything in our hand with at this particular point in the game. If we get hit with Zoroark's, it's going to be pretty much curtains. But Genesect to the front here. We already know what's in their deck, right? We already know that Dragapult is going to get knocked out because they have Blood Moon Ursaluna, and there's a Risky Ruins out there, so we could potentially go back into Dragapult with the Night Stretcher in hand, energy in hand for Dragapult. Should Risky Ruins survive here, and we can start setting up damage on the bench once again. So a couple different things that we could do. 20 damage here to the Blood Moon Ursaluna is going to be taking that. It's another energy onto Blood Moon. And they get a free retreat here with that air balloon. It's going to go to the Blood Moon Ursaluna on the bench. Battle Cage comes down. So we are out of stadium bumps. Dragapult is officially off the menu, folks. Dragapult's Phantom Dive no longer able to take multi-KOs because the 3rd Battle Cage is going to shut us down. So we don't see a boss's orders on this turn. Mori's Conviction is the play, so Blaziken survives again this turn. I don't know. I question if this is a great turn for my opponent to use a boss's orders, but it looks like they were looking for their Lunatone Solrock combination to get that extra little bit of draw. which might have ended up costing them the game here, because this lunar cycle is going to be a costly one. They are very, very low on energy at this point in the game, so could be a costly decision to use Mortys instead of just bossing onto Blaziken this turn and having another Dragapult target that could get knocked out very easily. So they're going to take a knockout here. We lose Dragapult entirely. So this is a bit of the shell gaming that we talked about, right? We talked about a bit about the shell gaming. We're going to put up a Pokemon that does not have damage on it. Now, it's an important turn for us because we do get to judge. We do get to use judge this turn, and we are able to get the Munkidori out of the discard pile with the Night Stretcher. We have the Dark Energy in hand. We also have Seething Spirit to attack with Blaziken. So judge is going to be important here. We are going to shrink their hand down to size as much as possible, disrupt them as much as possible. We have a boss's orders in case we need it. And so Seething Spirit is going to allow us to have an attack on Blood Moon Ursaluna. The important part in this next bit of the gameplay, right? They play one Blood Moon Ursaluna. So if they would like to take a knockout, they either need to get Okidogi and 2 fighting energies, plus boss's orders, or they need to get Blood Moon Ursaluna and boss's orders with enough energy to attack with Blood Moon Ursaluna. To get those Pokemon back, however, they're going to need to play Tarragon, which means they're not able to boss on the same turn. So we're kind of putting them into an awkward situation now, where they need this damage. They need access to this damage. They need access to these cards. So we're going to be reading a little bit of what our opponent does here. This is a very important piece of information. He's Night Stretchering for energy. So we know based on that play, he doesn't have enough energy available in his deck or in his hand. He lunar cycles. He uses the Night Stretcher not for an Okidogi, not for a Blood Moon Ursaluna. He's using it for energy. So it gives us a bunch of information. Draws 3 cards here. And we're going to see an energy attach for turn here. And so again, he could go ahead and play Tarragon this turn and set himself up for a following turn. But that would also give us information as well, because does he have boss's orders in hand? He has 7 cards in hand. We have no more disruption. He has 7 cards in hand. How are we able to slow this down? How are we able to give ourselves a chance to win in the next couple of turns here? Because he has 1 prize left. All he has to do is knock out Drakloak or Munkidori. At this point, he can't reach Drakloak unless he has Premium Power Pro, which this deck does not run. So it is going to be a Tarragon on this turn. Tarragon going to grab the energy. As we suspected, he's out of energy here, and he has a Blood Moon Ursaluna. He's going to retreat here to the Solrock. He's going to establish damage on Blaziken. So now, because of this play, he did not put down the Blood Moon Ursaluna, knowing that we don't have boss's orders. The play now becomes, we know that he has boss in hand, because next turn, he just has to play boss on Blaziken, either of the Blazikens, Blood Moon down, retreat to Blood Moon, and he wins the game. This is a problem, right? So Seething Spirit number 1 could go anywhere here. We don't really need to do anything with it. What we do need to do is we need to figure out what we're going to do. So because we were in the middle of thought here, and the battle cage is up, this Adrenabrain was an unfortunate one, because we could have literally set up the turn for game on this play right now. If we had waited to Adrenabrain right now, we put 30 on Barbaracle and we Jet Headbutt for 70 damage. That would be 100 damage on Barbaracle, and then he would have to find a way to retreat Barbaracle or lose the game the following turn. So because of that, we've given them another turn, another 2 turns here. Instead of having only this turn and then we'd win the following turn, they have this turn and next turn to have a play. So they have 8 cards left. They've played Night Stretchers. They've played their Night Stretchers. They have played a Tarragon. I think 1 or 2 Tarragons at this point. And so they're running low on resources. With the Barbaracle in the active, they have played 3 Air Balloons. This list generally plays only 3 Air Balloons. So they have no way of retreating this Barbaracle and having Okidogi or Blood Moon Ursaluna attack. It's one of the 2. They don't have enough energy for either of those Pokemon to attack because they're out of energy. This is where we've caught them here, folks. This is where we've got them. So they're going to Stone Arms here. They're making a decision on what they need to do here. They're just going to go and swing in with Barbaracle, because Barbaracle cannot hit Blaziken, cannot hit 320 on Blaziken, either of them. It cannot KO Munkidori, it cannot KO Dragapult. So they're attaching, they're thinking about retreating here. They have no way of recovering the energy because a lot of the resources have been spent already. Tarragons have been used. We've seen the Night Stretchers be used, and all of that energy in the discard pile. They have a ton of cards in hand. They have nothing to do with it. All three of those energies they just brought back with Tarragon are now on Barbaracle. So now, here comes the boss's orders. On the Munkidori, we correctly predicted the boss's orders in hand. 50 damage on Munkidori. And this would have wrapped things up if we had not goofed up on the previous turn and Adrenabrained early. So this would have been the turn that we could have knocked out Barbaracle with the previous 30 damage, and then we would have been able to Phantom Dive 4-game on any of the Pokemon. But we know that they burned the boss's orders now. They have no more energy left. And so all we have to do this turn is pass, because there's not an ability for them to get Pokemon. They played their 2 Tarragons. They don't have enough energy. They played their 2 Night Stretchers. They don't have access to energy. They can't get Blood Moon or Saluna going, which means they've played a boss's orders. They could potentially boss again here. Potentially boss again, do another 50 damage to Munkidori, which would still not knock it out. And this is what we do. We had to pass that turn, which means now if they don't retreat Barbaracle, if they don't end up retreating Barbaracle this turn, then it means that we just take a win next turn, right? Because we push 30 over to the active, take a knockout, and then Phantom Dive the active for knockouts. So they're just going to go ahead and hammer in. Concession of victory here on our side. The only thing that's left to do is not screw up the Adrenabrain like we did in the previous Okidogi video, but we're going to go ahead and push 30 damage over. We have the Seething Spirit, the Fire Energy in the discard pile, so no matter what Pokemon they bring up, we're going to be doing Phantom Dive for 200, and that, my friends, is how you play into Okidogi. It is a lot of stuff, a lot of moving pieces, obviously. We had to take 7 prizes in that game to win again. This is the second time we played in Okidogi. We had to play into 7 prizes through 3 battle cages. You have to get a little creative sometimes. Get a little creative sometimes, and sometimes things have to go your way. But you're still able to get those knockouts, get that damage in there, and a little bit of reading on my opponent's actions, giving us the information that we need to make those correct decisions, right? So be conscious of what you're benching. Removing the Meowth there was really important. It came down to a 1 prize game, our opponent having a single prize. And if that was a knockout on Meowth instead of Drakloak, we would have lost this game. So being very astute of your situation, being very aware of how things are going, it will help you out as a player into the Okidogi deck, knowing what they're trying to do, and then trying to counter that and avoid putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be vulnerable very easily to what they're going to do, right? We didn't put Fez down the entire game. We removed Meowth as soon as we could, got ourselves into a very strong position, shell gamed the damage, made sure that we held onto a boss as long as possible so that they were afraid to put down Blood Moon or Saluna, because doing so prevented them from having those chain combos where they could easily get Blood Moon or Saluna down, then boss something up, take a knockout, get that flow that they like to see going there. So check out the Metafy if you've not already. I've got a pretty big write-up here on Okidogi and the matchup and different ways to look into going into that matchup. We didn't even use Clefairy in this matchup. Clefairy one-shots Okidogis over the 230 HP, obviously, because we're hitting for 400 with Clefairy usually. So take a look at the guide. There's a couple different ways, a couple different avenues to do it. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like the video. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and click that subscribe button to be notified of when we have different videos like this one. And check out the Metafy. It's very, very cheap. It's only $5 to get access to a bunch. I mean, like tens of thousands of words and numbers of hours of content. You guys can take a look at it. Appreciate all of you. We'll see you in the next video.